Picture this. Your car door starts creaking on Monday. By Friday, the lock is stiff, the boot latch needs 2 attempts, and you're already imagining the words nobody wants to hear at a garage. We'll need to investigate that. But a can of WD-40 can either stop a small annoyance becoming a paid visit, or, used in the wrong place, create a safety problem that no cheap spray will undo. And the last trick is the one almost every viral video gets backwards. This is not a video about spraying a miracle product over your entire car. WD-40 is not a substitute for a service, a repair, a diagnostic check, or common sense. It will not cure a worn door mechanism, repair a failing sensor, rebuild a rusty suspension component, or make a dangerous brake safe again. What it can do is much more practical. Used carefully and on the right parts, it can displace moisture, free light corrosion, lubricate simple mechanisms, remove certain contaminants, and delay small problems before they become inconvenient. The point is not to impress your mates with a hack. The point is to know which 5-minute jobs are worth doing before somebody else has to do them for you. And one important correction to the title: dealerships are not secretly terrified of a can of WD-40. A good garage wants your car safe. The real reason these tricks feel hidden is simpler. Most people only think about maintenance when a door refuses to open, an MOT is around the corner, or an invoice is already on the counter. We are counting down 10 real UK-relevant uses and rules. Each one has a limit. If the limit is crossed, stop. A stiff hinge is a maintenance job. A damaged latch, an electrical warning light, or anything involving brakes and tires is not a WD-40 job. The final entry could prevent the single worst mistake in this entire video. But first, start with something almost everybody ignores until it becomes embarrassing: the number plate you only notice when you are standing behind the car. Number 10. Clean a grimy number plate, then wash it off. Salt spray, dead insects, tree sap, and road grime build up slowly. You do not see it from the driver's seat. Then you park, walk behind the car, and realize the plate looks like it has been through a building site. WD-40's UK car maintenance guidance says the multi-use product can help remove tree sap, dead bugs, and road grit from a number plate. The sensible method is not to soak the entire rear of the car. Apply a small amount to the affected area or a cloth. Let it work briefly, wipe gently, then rinse with soapy water. Why does this make the list? Because it teaches the first rule of this video. Use the smallest amount on the smallest area and remove the residue afterwards. You are cleaning contamination, not coating the car in lubricant. This will not repair a cracked, faded, or illegible number plate. It simply helps remove grime that ordinary washing has left behind. And it matters because a clean, readable plate is one less basic issue to discover at the worst possible moment. Make this a 2-minute habit before a long journey or an MOT appointment. Walk around the car once. Check the front and rear plates, lamps, mirrors, and tires before you get in. The WD-40 part is small. The habit is the real saving. A driver who notices grime early is more likely to notice a cracked lens, a loose plate fixing, or a damaged mirror before it becomes someone else's problem to find. That is a tiny win. The next one is more useful in winter, when one small moving part can turn an ordinary journey into 10 minutes of frustration on your driveway. Number 9. Free a stiff door lock or hinge before it becomes a fault. The key turns, but not smoothly. The door opens, but with a dry metallic squeak. Most drivers put up with it because the car still works. That is normally the exact moment to act, not 6 months later when the mechanism jams in heavy rain. WD-40 lists door locks and hinges among the automotive uses for its multi-use product. For a simple exposed hinge or lock mechanism, use the straw. Apply a very small amount to the moving metal area and work the mechanism several times. Wipe off excess, especially from painted surfaces and trim. The trick is not spray until it drips. Too much product collects dirt. The trick is to notice the early warning: stiffness, squeaking, a latch that feels reluctant, or a key that suddenly needs more force. But do not turn this into a cure-all. If the door does not latch securely, will not open from inside, needs to be slammed, or an electronic lock keeps failing, stop using home fixes and have it checked. A door that does not close properly is not a cosmetic nuisance. There is another reason to stay disciplined. WD-40's multi-use product is a light lubricant and moisture displacer, not a permanent replacement for the correct grease inside every latch assembly. If the same hinge or catch keeps returning to the same problem, there may be wear, misalignment, or water ingress behind the symptom. Repeated spraying without asking why is how a simple warning becomes background noise. We have started with the obvious moving parts. Number 8 is the one people forget because it is usually working perfectly, right up until a cold morning when it refuses to move. Number 8, stop folding mirrors from becoming stiff and noisy. Electric folding mirrors look like a luxury feature until one side groans, hesitates, or stops halfway through its movement. Then it is suddenly one more thing you worry about every time you lock the car. WD-40 UK specifically points to the hinged mechanisms of car wing mirrors as an application for a light touch of multi-use product. The important words are hinged mechanisms. Apply sparingly to the exposed moving hinge, never flood the mirror housing, and operate the mirror a few times so the product can reach the moving metal surfaces. Wipe away anything that runs. This is preventative maintenance, not an excuse to dismantle a mirror with motors and wiring inside it. If an electrically folding mirror clicks, binds, fails repeatedly, or the glass itself will not adjust, the fault may be mechanical or electrical. Spraying deeper into the housing can make diagnosis harder, not easier. There is a pattern beginning to emerge. WD-40 is useful when you know exactly what is sticking. It becomes risky when you spray because you do not know what is wrong. That distinction matters even more under the bonnet because the next job involves electricity, and it is where older cars and modern hybrid or EV systems must never be treated as the same thing. Number 7. Protect 12-volt battery terminals but not high-voltage systems. Lift the bonnet of an older petrol or diesel car and you may find a familiar sight around the 12-volt battery terminals. Powdery corrosion, a dull connection, and the temptation to ignore it because the engine still starts. WD-40 states that its multi-use product can protect battery terminals from corrosion. That does not mean spraying every wire you can see. Switch the vehicle off, follow the vehicle handbook, and keep the job limited to accessible conventional 12-volt battery terminals. If you are not confident disconnecting or cleaning a battery correctly, do not guess. Ask a professional. The line between a sensible job and a bad decision is very clear. Never use this tip around orange high-voltage cables, an EV or hybrid battery pack, damaged wiring, battery management sensors, or anything you cannot positively identify. Those systems are not a DIY experiment, and a warning light is not an invitation to start spraying. For an ordinary 12-volt battery, prevention is much cheaper than letting corrosion build up unnoticed. But if the car has slow cranking, recurring flat battery symptoms, or visible damage to a terminal or cable, you need to find the underlying cause. A protective spray cannot repair a failing battery, a loose clamp, or an electrical drain. Think of it this way. Terminal protection is a maintenance action after you have identified a healthy, accessible, conventional battery connection. It is not a diagnosis. If the car needs a jump start more than once, the relevant questions are battery condition, charging system, parasitic drain, and the state of the connections, not whether you used enough spray last month. The next position is where the original meaning of the letters WD becomes useful, but it is also where people with modern cars need to be more careful than the viral videos make them believe. Number 6. Displace moisture from old-school ignition parts. WD stands for water displacement. On older petrol cars, dampness around ignition components could leave you with rough running, a reluctant start, or an engine that feels completely different on a wet morning. WD-40's UK maintenance guidance says multi-use product can help keep moisture away from spark plug wires and distributor components. The safe version of this trick is simple: engine off, engine cool, use a clean cloth or a controlled application on the relevant external ignition components, and do not saturate anything. But this is not a generic modern engine fix. Many newer cars use coil-on plug ignition, sealed connectors, and electronics that should not be treated like an old distributor cap. If you have a misfire, an engine management light, a flashing warning light, or the car is running badly, read the fault properly. Continuing to drive can make a small ignition issue expensive. Use this as moisture prevention on suitable older components, not as an excuse to silence symptoms. The distinction may sound boring, but it is the difference between maintaining a car and delaying a fault. So far, the list has been about moving parts and moisture. At number 5, we move to something every UK driver sees after fresh roadworks: tiny black spots that look harmless until you try to polish them off too aggressively. Number 5. Remove tar without scrubbing the paint to death. You wash the car, it looks clean. Then the sun hits the lower doors or wheel arches and you see the black dots. Tar from resurfaced roads, pothole repairs or construction areas. The instinct is to rub harder. That is how people turn a contamination problem into a paintwork problem. WD-40's own UK guide says multi-use product can help loosen tar on car surfaces. Their process is careful. Wash the car first, park in the shade, apply a small targeted amount, wait a few minutes, wipe gently with a clean cloth, then wash the treated area afterwards. There is a credibility detail worth knowing. WD-40's UK how-to pages note that some uses describe they were supplied by users and may not constitute a product recommendation. That does not make the technique useless. It means you should treat it exactly as a cautious owner would. Small test area, controlled amount, no aggressive rubbing, and no assumption that every paint finish reacts the same way. There is a warning you should not skip. WD-40 says the product may soften or remove wax and polish coatings. Test it on a hidden area first. That is not legal small print. It is the difference between removing a tar spot and stripping the protection you paid to apply. This trick can save you from aggressive scrubbing and a panic booking at a detailer, but it is not for fresh paint you are unsure about, damaged paint, matte finishes, or a car you're not willing to test carefully. When in doubt, use a proper tar remover recommended for your paint type. The 5th position gives you a safe way to remove something stuck to the paint. The 4th is about something stuck on the paint, and it is especially useful when you buy a used car with someone else's ideas still attached to it. Number 4. Remove sticker residue without reaching for a blade. Dealer sticker, old parking permit, faded family decal. The car may be yours now, but the adhesive residue still looks like it belongs to the previous owner. WD-40. UK also describes multi-use product as a way to loosen sticker residue from a car. Start by gently lifting what you can with your fingertips. Clean the area with car shampoo. Apply a controlled amount of product directly to the residue. Let it sit briefly and wipe it away with a clean cloth. The hidden value is not cosmetic. A badly removed sticker can leave scratches, dull patches, or a stubborn outline that makes a used car look neglected. A calm, targeted approach is better than attacking the glass or paint with a blade, harsh solvent, or a rough sponge. Again, treat the surface like it matters. Test first on an unobtrusive area, wash the residue away afterwards, and remember that a sticker trick is not a paint restoration trick. If the adhesive has already damaged lacquer or left a severe shadow in the paint, you may need a professional detailer rather than another layer of product, and do not use this as an excuse to remove anything that should legally remain on the glass or bodywork. The point is, old adhesive residue, not bypassing a requirement. The best used car preparation is not hiding its history, it is removing the cheap clutter that prevents you from seeing the condition underneath. Now we reach the part of the car that often gives away how it has really been used. Number 3 will not make the engine healthier, but it can stop surface grime becoming an expensive-looking problem, provided the metal is cold. Number 3. Clean exhaust tip grime, not a hot exhaust. Walk behind a car that is otherwise clean and look at the exhaust tips. Road film, soot, and baked-on grime can make a well-kept car look tired in seconds. It is exactly the kind of detail people notice when they inspect a used car. WD-40 lists cleaning grime from exhausts among the stated uses of its multi-use product. The safe rule is non-negotiable. Work only when the exhaust is completely cold. Apply a little to a cloth, clean the external tip or visible metal surface, and wipe the area clean afterwards. Do not spray into a hot exhaust. Do not use this as a fix for smoke, a rattling catalyst, an engine warning light, or a failed emissions test. A dirty tailpipe is cosmetic. Blue smoke, excessive soot, strange smells, or warning lights are diagnostic clues. This is why the trick belongs high in the list. It helps you distinguish appearance from condition. A clean exhaust tip does not prove a healthy car, just as a dirty one does not prove the engine is failing. When buying used, never let shine replace inspection. The next trick is more mechanically useful, but it comes with a line you must not cross. In fact, if the bolt you are looking at holds the car safely together, the right move is often to put the can down. Number 2, free lightly corroded fasteners. Every DIY job has this moment. You want to replace a number plate screw, remove a battery clamp, free a small bracket, or undo a rusty fastener. The bolt does not move. You apply more force. The head rounds off. The 5-minute task becomes a broken bolt problem. WD-40 Specialist Automotive sells a fast-release penetrant specifically for corroded or rusted components and mechanisms. This is the correct lesson. The original multi-use product has many applications, but some jobs need a product designed for penetration. Choosing the right product is more useful than pretending one can do every job perfectly. For a non-safety critical, accessible fastener, use the penetrant as directed, give it time to work, and use the correct tool. If the fastener starts to round, stops moving, or is heavily corroded, do not escalate into anger. That is when broken bolts, snapped studs, and damaged threads happen. This is a useful mental test before any DIY task. If the bolt breaks, can you still safely drive the car, and can you explain how it must be reassembled? A number plate screw is one thing. A caliper bolt, a suspension arm fixing, or a fuel line union is something entirely different. The product may help loosen corrosion, but it does not give you the procedure, the torque setting, replacement hardware, or the experience to recognize a damaged component. And here is the boundary. Do not casually attempt seized brake, suspension, steering, fuel system, or structural fasteners because a video made it look easy. Those components can be safety critical. If you do not know the tightening procedure, replacement requirement, or consequences of disturbing the part, get a technician involved. This trick can prevent a small home maintenance job from becoming a disaster, but it also sets up the biggest reveal in the video. The worst WD-40 mistake is not choosing the wrong can for a rusty bolt. It is treating WD-40 itself as if it were safe everywhere on a car. Number 1. The real secret. Know where WD-40 must never go. This is the trick that actually protects your wallet. Stop asking, can WD-40 fix this? Start asking, what surface am I about to contaminate? WD-40 multi-use product can be useful on the right metal mechanism, the right lock, the right hinge, or the right exterior cleaning job. But it is not a universal automotive chemical. The can is not a repair manual. Never spray it on brake discs, brake pads, brake linings, tires, tire tread, steering wheel grips, pedal surfaces, drive belts, or areas where any lubricant could compromise grip or braking. Do not spray it into airbag systems, ECS, sealed sensors, high-voltage hybrid or EV equipment, or an electrical connector just because a warning light appeared. This is not overcautious advice. The UK MOT inspection manual treats brake pads or linings contaminated by oil or grease as a major defect. It also lists brake discs or drums contaminated with oil or grease as a major defect. If brake performance is obviously affected, the problem can be categorized as dangerous. That means the viral idea of spraying a squealing brake, a wheel area, or anything close to braking components is not a clever shortcut. It can create a real safety problem. If any lubricant reaches a brake disc, pad, or tire, do not drive the car until the contamination has been assessed and corrected properly. The same principle explains why the famous WD-40 restores headlights video is the wrong mindset. A shiny temporary film is not a repair for UV-damaged lens material. Do not use a surface coating to disguise a safety or visibility issue. Fix the underlying cause with the correct product or the correct repair, and this is where the modern product range matters. The WD-40 Specialist Fast Drying Contact Cleaner is specifically described by the company as non-conductive and suitable for sensitive electrical components. It should be allowed to dry before power is restored. That does not make every electrical fault a DIY job. It tells you that where electrical cleaning is genuinely appropriate, the correct product is not automatically the multi-use can in the garage drawer. The same is true of heavy hinges and load-bearing mechanisms. A dedicated silicone lubricant, white lithium grease, or specialist penetrant may be the better tool depending on the component. The mind-blowing trick is not one magic spray. It is refusing to use one product as a substitute for diagnosis, safety knowledge, and the manufacturer's instructions. That is also why the final rule is so valuable before you buy a used car. A shiny hinge, silent mirror, or polished exhaust tells you that somebody cleaned the visible surfaces. It does not tell you whether the car has been serviced, whether the brakes are healthy, or whether an intermittent fault has been repaired. Use these tricks to maintain your own car and to inspect a used one more intelligently. Never to cover up a problem before selling it. That is the answer to the question we opened with. Can a can of WD-40 stop a small car problem becoming a garage bill? Sometimes, absolutely. A clean plate, a free hinge, a protected conventional battery terminal, a tar spot removed gently, or a non-critical corroded screw released early can all save time and prevent a minor annoyance growing. But the same can become expensive the moment you use it to hide a fault, contaminate a safety surface, or avoid a repair your car is already asking for. The normal driver sees a squeak, a sticky lock, or a dirty surface and thinks, "I will deal with it later." The smarter driver checks whether it is a simple external mechanism, uses the smallest amount of the correct product, removes excess, and watches for the signs that say, "Stop." So remember the rule. Use WD-40 for controlled prevention, not blind repair. Use the right WD-40 product for the job, not the same can for every job. Keep it away from brakes, tires, controls, high-voltage systems, and anything safety critical. And if the symptom is a warning light, poor braking, a misfire, an insecure door, a failed MOT item, or a seized structural component, do not spray your way past it. Diagnose it. The simple order is: identify the component, check the handbook, choose the correct product, apply the minimum needed, remove excess, and reassess. That sequence is less exciting than a viral before and after clip. It is also the sequence that keeps a useful tool from becoming an expensive mistake. That is how a cheap can stays a useful tool instead of becoming the reason for an avoidable bill. Tell us in the comments, what car do you drive? How many miles has it covered? And what is the most useful car maintenance trick you have actually used? And be honest, have you ever tried WD-40 somewhere you later realized you probably should not have? Subscribe if you want to avoid bad used car buys, hidden faults, and the small mistakes that become expensive surprises.